Welcome to tonight's watch. This is a movie review podcast I do with my older brother Matt.
Hi.
Not quiet as hi.
Hi.
My younger brother Luke.
Hello.
And my younger sister Kelly. She's never gonna say.
Silence.
I knew it was gonna be the same. We go over a movie each week and do a full plot summary after our spoiler-free initial thoughts and some quick info on the movie. That's all I have for an intro. We're just going to jump right into it because tonight's watch was I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was written by Kevin Williamson. You may know him from
97.
the Scream franchise. And it was directed by...
most importantly,
Cursed.
And
I
even more
forgot that he
importantly,
wrote Cursed.
Dawson's Creek.
Yes.
Most
Dawson's
importantly,
Creek.
or you mean Dawson's Beach?
That's
That's
I noticed that too.
crazy.
That was
Called it
crazy.
Dawson's-
Oh.
Did you
I didn't
notice?
realize
Of
that.
course you didn't.
Yeah.
This movie was directed by Jim Gillespie. And then I have some info on the movie. And my sources for this were IMDb, Wikipedia, and sci-fi.com.
That's good source material.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.com. That one did not contribute much, if I'm being honest. This movie is loosely based on a 1973 novel by the same name. That is actually less of a slasher horror and more of a drama, apparently. And apparently the author does not like this movie because of that.
Mom read that book as a kid,
Oh, really?
No
which is
way.
pretty.
Oh.
That's crazy.
I was talking to her about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I read that book," and started explaining an entirely different plot because it's
Yeah, it's very
based
different.
on
Very different.
that book.
This movie draws inspiration from the urban legend of the Hook, which, for obvious reasons, pirate-like figure that kills people. But movies Prom Night and House on Sorority Hill also use the same urban legend as their killer, essentially. Producer Eric Feig, I think it's Feig, it doesn't have an E at the end, but had the original idea to adapt the novel into a more horror-like tone, and asked Kevin Williamson to rework it into a script. He reworked it into a town of fishermen and that being like kind of the central plot because his family came from a long line of fishermen, and according to him, everyone in his family is a fisherman but him. So that's why it's set like this. Is that's kind of how he grew up, apparently.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is what he thought he would become if he
Yeah.
didn't do this.
Essentially, yes. And then I did read that he still wrote this movie. Like, that all happened before Scream came out. This movie was released after, but he wrote Scream first. Or, sorry, he wrote I Know What You Did What I Did Last Summer
really?
before he did. Yes, and then because the success of Scream, it got bought to then, like, fast-track the next year to do this script of his because Scream was so popular. Some more info. Jennifer Love Hewitt, who plays Julie, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who plays Helen, both auditioned for the other one's role at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
Fun.
And then this movie led to a pretty big lawsuit between Miramax and Columbia upon releasing because it had the tagline "From the creator of Scream" on this poster and all over its advertisements to sell. In reference to Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream and was the creator, but it was like intentionally vague. Oh, we lost Kelly, but it was intentionally vague and kind of misleading intentionally on it not being Wes Craven being the director. It kind of implies that even though it's not, he is the creator of Scream because he wrote the script, but
Yeah.
And Miramax won for suing them. The company that owned Scream won that lawsuit, apparently. And then the last thing I have, Rotten Tomatoes, this film currently has a 49% critics rating and a 41% audience meter.
The audience is below the critics.
Which is
I
pretty
didn't know it
crazy,
was that
pretty
low.
crazy. Luke,
It's not that bad.
Luke, give me your spoiler-free initial thoughts on this.
I had fun with this. This is my second time watching it. I don't think it's that bad. I actually liked the first half when they were justifying their actions. When it actually gets into the slasher bit, I don't care. And that's the whole movie, I guess.
Yeah.
But when the crime is happening. I thought that was interesting, and I had a fun time with the characters. I think the ending, I didn't like the ending, or like who the killer is, or like why. So that was not good. But it's not that bad.
Matt, what'd you think?
First off, this movie is so aggressively 90s in like the most hilarious way. I think the movie is a mess, but it definitely has moments that are really fun, and those moments are usually the parts that are the most over the top. Like Barry, just as a character, was my favorite character to watch
Yes.
because he's
I agree.
hilarious. I also agree that I think who the killer is, it's kind of lackluster to me because it's like I didn't think they were gonna do that because it's like almost too obvious. But you know, this is also my second time watching, and you know, it is. I still had moments that where I was enjoying how silly it was, so that's a plus for it.
Kelly?
Yeah.
I like this movie.
That's what I'm talking about.
Lots of build up. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as I can watch hot people commit atrocities. And that's what this was.
That they do.
That was Sarah Michelle Gellar in the 90s.
Yes, it was! This came out the same year as Scream 2, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He loves putting her in situations. I feel similarly about this movie that I do the Teen Beach movies.
Oh, interesting.
In that, if the girls of each couple and if the guys of each couple kissed, it would have been exponentially better.
I agree.
But that didn't happen, so what we have is what we have.
That's true. Great point.
Thank you. Yeah, real film analyst. I have a good time with this movie. It's fun. I don't think it should be that low. It's kind of everything you want from a slasher, quite honestly. Like this is a quintessential slasher. I do think, okay, first half of the movie, I thought Julie was a little bit flavorless. By the time she starts screaming all the time, I'm back into her. Ray is absolutely flavorless. He is so fucking boring.
Yes, that's like some of the charm, you know?
Yeah. Men can get away with fucking anything.
Ray's not a character for half of this movie.
At the beginning, you thought Julie was flavorless? I didn't think so.
Yes, at the beginning, because she's just so classic, like the one, like a little bit
the nerd.
It was just like the quote unquote good one at the beginning. But when she starts, you know, we're not in spoiler territory yet. When she starts losing her mind, that's when I started liking her more. Ray is just proof that men can do less than the bare minimum and get a pass.
All he does is fish.
He does nothing.
That's it.
He just looks pretty.
Yeah.
He doesn't do shit, looks pretty, and he survives. Great movie, guys! Yeah! Mark, what do you think?
So this is my second time attempting to watch this. A couple of years ago, I tried to watch it and got bored and turned it off. And I'm proud to say and happy to say that I feel very differently about this movie now. I actually really liked this movie this time.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if it's taking notes just helps. If taking notes just like helps me stay focused on what's happening, so I don't like get bored. But I was actually in it. I didn't really care who the killer was. Like that's whatever, and like that part's. There's stuff about like what happens to why is Ray not in 45 minutes of this movie to an hour of this movie, like
one takeout at the end that lasts less than a minute.
Yeah. And it's like, are they trying to make him seem like the killer because he's not there? I'm confused.
Or less than a minute, for 30 seconds, and then he gets clotheslined, and we know he's not.
But I actually really ended up liking this movie. I think it's hard. I know that some people really didn't like this movie when it came out because the way it was promoted, and it's not Scream. And it definitely seems like a script that he wrote before Scream. It seems like Scream is like
there are pieces there.
Like, yes,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
kind of there, but
The
he's
top part
getting
scene
better at it. You
happens
can see
in
through
Scream.
this movie how he got to Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because he like tried with like the, it's not like he's like the big twist guy, but like trying to be like the reveal of like, oh, that's actually not the person you think it is. It's somebody
Yeah.
else. And there's like stuff there. And it's not always executed amazing, but that kind of adds to it from being like a 97 movie of like, this is kind of a perfect like Fear Fest movie. Like I would
Yeah.
watch this every October and be good with it, which I did not expect because I was so bored the first time. I just feel very differently now. I actually really liked it and how cheesy it is, like the fish hook, but it kind of works. Like it just works for some reason. It's
I
campy.
think this
but-
is a perfect background movie. Like, if you need to
Yeah.
have a movie in the background, like at a party or something, I Know What You Did Last Summer is the go-to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For sure. I was very pleasantly surprised watching this. I mean, I do get bored a little bit, but like that's that's most movies. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised, and I will rewatch this movie probably most Octobers. I would rewatch this. I actually really liked it.
Wow.
It's dumb as hell, but that's kind of like the point of them. Okay, we'll jump into the plot, and then of course just jump in when you guys have anything to say. My first note was I really like this title. Actually, I think it's been stuck in like I've known of this movie since I've known of horror movie. Like you just know what this movie is, but really thinking of like, I think it's a solid title. I know what you did last summer, and then it's creepy. Getting the note saying I know what you did last summer. Like, I think it works.
Point.
The handwriting is iconic too. It's like it's good.
And I love to point out, this is skipping, but Barry going, so what? We did a lot of things last summer. Like, that's not what they're
Like,
talking
what?
about.
Yeah.
Like, what else did you do,
Something worse
Barry?
than that.
Yeah.
I also like that
Honestly, he might have.
the notes never say more than like 6 words that this one says or what. Like,
One of them just says "I know."
yeah, yeah.
Also,
At
like,
the end,
how
does it
he
say, I
has
still know me?
still,
Yes.
yeah.
What do you
Uh,
I
think,
like how
guys?
he has at minimum 6 opportunities to kill each one of them and
Yep.
doesn't.
It just does it for
For the
no
whole movie.
Why?
apparent reason.
Oh, wait. Okay, we'll get into later. I
Yeah,
have a question on
we
this.
have some. I think we have a lot to discuss
Oh,
on like
that's the
like the killer
Motive?
and motive and
Or not? I guess not motive. Method.
yeah,
of
just
it.
a lot.
What?
I forgot that Johnny Galecki was in this.
Yes.
Johnny
Yeah.
Galecki.
So mad, so angry the whole time.
Well, so something again. This is it's gonna be kind of hard not to skip around, so just feel free with like. We'll try to
Yeah.
reel it back in, but with Johnny Galecki, I think they really tried to be like, he's creepy. But what I appreciated was it wasn't he's creepy till the very end of the movie, and it's revealed he's not. It was like he was the first one to die,
know,
essentially, which was
But-
surprising.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah,
why
that's
would-
my question.
Again, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
He killed Max just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
I guess.
Is no, that's the answer. That is
I
the
guess 'cause
answer,
he
which
stuck-
doesn't
stuck
make
him in the
sense.
trunk.
Sure.
No.
Listen, he was
Also, how to
there.
get all
that
those
summer.
crabs out of that
he
trunk?
was there that summer.
Yeah, how did you get all the scraps?
That's
biggest
so
mistake.
egregious. I dare say that's a plot hole. That the crabs don't make any
Oh, yeah,
mess
'cause
or
this movie's
anything.
really tight.
It's
There's a really
airtight.
tight building,
Man,
except for the
dude.
crabs.
That's fucking crabs. Okay, so we start with a man sitting on a cliff, looking down, and presumably
before that.
contemplating jumping off. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Prior to this,
The song playing is
Yeah.
a 90s brooding cover of the Seals and Crofts song Summer Breeze. Have you ever heard the original song? It's like Summer Breeze makes me fine. Like just watching it with subtitles, I would never have known that was the song that was playing, and I was like, "What is this? That's crazy."
While we're on the topic of music, there's later in the movie where there's a song playing that's just over and over again saying, "Start having a great life." Start having a great life. And it was so funny, because what?
The song
What was
choices
going
in
on
this,
in the 90s?
like, there were more than one 90s covers of classic songs, because Hush by Deep Purple, there was a weird cover of that too. Like, they kept doing it, and I was like, I don't know if this was popular back then, but it makes the movie feel so uniquely itself that I was like, okay, I'll roll with it, I guess.
So we have the man sitting on the cliff, and he's drinking alcohol, obviously inebriated. And then up until later in the movie, and this is spoiler territory because we're in the plot now, but up until like it's revealed that it wasn't the person they killed, we just assume that this is the person that they killed.
Right.
They're dressed the exact same.
And again,
because they're both fishermen.
killed because they also he didn't. Yeah. So okay, we see this man, and then there's somebody in the street later, so we think it's this man. But
Right.
we go to a seaside city that is celebrating 4th of July festival. We meet Sarah Michelle Gellar, who plays Helen, who is in a beauty contest, and her friends support her by commenting on her boobs immediately.
If you didn't know who the final girl of this movie is, Jennifer Love Hewitt comes in as the brunette with wispy bangs and a long skirt, which is 90s movie code for this is who you're rooting for.
They also do this thing with her where they're commenting on her boobs, right? And she's the one who just goes, "Oh, come on, guys."
Boys.
Yeah.
Just giggles with them. Like, okay. Great.
Also, the competition that she's in is to be the croaker queen, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's not the name of their town.
18-year-old, presumably? They're
what is
recent high school graduates, so what is this competition?
I don't know. And what is a croaker? Is it
Yeah,
a type
no
of
idea.
fish?
No
Like,
idea.
what is that?
No idea.
I'll look it up.
But Helen wins the croaker contest.
Yes, a girl.
And her friends, I think they snuck in because they shouldn't be allowed on the balcony, right? Nobody else is up
Probably
there.
not.
They seem like they snuck in, but the judge looks at them and smiles. But they're ecstatic for her.
I have an answer.
Yeah, what's a croaker?
A croaker is a type of fish, specifically a member of the drum family, known for the distinctive croaking or drumming sound it makes by vibrating its swim bladder.
Interesting.
Wow, good for
Okay.
her.
Good for
Helen.
her. Yeah.
We see a band playing outside, and we get a gnarly lens flare. That made me real happy.
Oh,
Oh
yes,
my god,
yes.
guys. We watched Super 8.
To JJ.
Oh man.
Super 8's more egregious than Star Trek, only because Star Trek kind of makes
There should
sense.
be none. There should be
And
no
Super 8
lens
is...
Super 8.
and I love it. We meet Helen's sister here. I put her name
Oh my
later.
God.
Oh, Elsa. Elsa.
She's such a bitch for no fucking reason.
Yeah. Do you guys recognize where she's
Oh,
from?
oh yeah.
Oh, you know I do.
I didn't. I recognized her, but I couldn't place it.
Ah, Luke.
It's Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
Elsa is a bad person because at one point her sister is saying she's being
a bad person.
attacked, and
she
she's
doesn't
just like,
believe her.
"Ugh, you're being so dramatic."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what?
she deserved to die.
Yeah.
We also meet Max here, who asks Julie to hang out, and she says no, and he like doesn't fully accept it. And then Barry comes in, and they have a minor tussle. The friends leave, and Max gives him I'll kill you kind of look. So then he's suspicious up until the point where he's the first one to die for no reason.
This is the next part where there was a song. Right after that, when they're driving, the song playing is called DUI.
Ooh, that's good.
Which I think is very funny.
That's good.
We see the gang. The gang. What? The gang is drinking. By
Because half of the Scooby Gang is here.
that is true.
Yeah,
That is
They
true.
don't interact. I don't think they have
I
a
know.
single fucking conversation.
I
together.
know.
There is one scene where they're left alone together, and straight up, Helen looks at him and walks away without saying a word. They don't interact at all.
They were in
Because they
Scooby Doo.
and they're married.
I knew they were married. I forgot Scooby Doo.
They
Yeah.
couldn't have them interact because they knew if they interacted a single time, it would blow the chemistry out of the water. Because Freddie Prinze
Right.
Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt do not like each other.
No.
They have
No
zero chemistry.
Barry by the campfire is telling a story about the Hook, presumably like the urban legend of the Hook. But they all technically are telling the story because they keep correcting each other. Every single one of them corrects each other.
Good way to tell a story right there.
This is really interesting in the way like about how everybody can remember an urban legend differently
Yeah.
through their life, and that's not explored at all.
Nope.
Nope.
They're gonna go deeper.
Good
into that.
idea. Good idea.
About how like
Good kernel of an idea.
misinterpretation or interpretations of the same event from different perspectives could have worked very well with this movie, and they didn't go into it.
Nope, doesn't
But
matter. People gotta
what
die.
was your guys's? What version did you guys hear growing up about the Hook Man?
Never heard of him.
Because I have a specific.
I
version.
never heard
No,
of a
Are you
Hook Man.
serious?
Never.
No.
I didn't either.
Fucking serious? Okay, the way I heard
Does
it
a hat
was
slinging slasher have a hook, or is that something else?
As a spatula.
Duh.
I've heard of the bridge
You guys know,
woman.
didn't. Do you want to tell us about the bridge woman?
Just likes playing bridge.
I think it's just like the hitchhiker story, but on the bridge. Like she
Like
tosses
Woman
her
in
kids
White.
into the bridge,
No.
or like under the
Yeah,
bridge.
the bridge.
Luke, I did hear I think that one because I remember the bridge out by the San Pedro being
Yes.
haunted. I do
And if you
remember
see
that,
her, but
yeah.
you don't pick her up, then
Yeah.
she'll kill you.
Yeah.
So it's like the hitchhiker.
That's interesting that you
So-
guys had never heard the Hook story. I thought
Yeah. What was
that
your
was
version of it?
bare bones escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand, right? Ableism,
Of course.
mental health,
At its
Mhm.
finest.
people with mental
yes.
illness is bad. But I heard it was dripping, not scratching, which is something they touch on in
They
here. Half of
do,
them say
they
that it was
do.
dripping, half of them say that it was scratching. I learned that it was dripping from someone gutted, not decapitated, above the car. That was the version that I heard.
Disgusting.
Wow.
Gross. Because how do you decapitate someone with a fish hook?
It would
or
take a
hook in
long
general.
time. Yeah.
I don't know.
You have to just really
I
kind of
don't
like
know.
go at it all haphazardly.
You can be real
Determination.
determined for some reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Barry's telling the story. Well, they all are, but Barry says it's a ghost story and fake, but Ray is Ray, and he believes it. Julie says
Oh
that.
my god.
So this is where Julie says that it's a made up story for teenagers to stop having sex, and the hook is a phallic symbol. And to me, this is kind of like Kevin Williamson, like kind of talking about the tropes of like horror and like them like bringing it
Yeah.
into like the horror genre, which he obviously goes full in on Scream. But like those are like the trickle where I feel like he was starting to get into like calling stuff out, because like then immediately all of our characters have sex.
Yep.
Not all together, but our two couples split up and have sex.
Could have been all
Totally.
together. It could have been
It was spiritually.
Yeah, right.
spiritually.
We need to address Julie and Ray's interaction.
Okay.
in
I
this scene,
couldn't
because it's psychotic.
remember what he said, but I remember clocking it being like, we have to bring up what they said because it was crazy.
He says
What did he say?
something
Okay.
crazy. He says, I have it written down because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Let me
He
hear it
says, I hate this. Talking about him moving to New York for some reason. I don't know why he's going there. He's a poor fisherman. That's all we know about his character. That's his only character. Okay. I hate
hot.
this. You're gonna go off and you're gonna fall for some head-shaven, black-wearing, tattoo-covered, body-piercing
yes.
philosophy student.
She
Yes.
sounds
Which-
cool. Yeah.
Which actually, Ray says that sounds hot or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
attractive. But I could not stop thinking about the iconic line that we have in Saw 2004, where
Saw.
Adam goes. I didn't tell you that my ex-girlfriend, who was a feminist vegan punk, broke up with me
Yes.
because she thought I was too angry. And I think they're talking about the same person in these two
Interesting.
scenarios.
Oh my god.
But then this is what pissed me off. Ray goes, "Did you know that high school sweethearts have the highest success rate out of any couple?" And Julie goes,
Yes. Yes.
"Where's your proof for that?" And he doesn't say a
Does he
word.
touch his
It
heart?
takes forever. He touches his heart
Yeah.
and stares at her for no shorter than like 10 whole seconds of silence, and it
Yeah.
was so awkward. And
Yeah.
then they start undressing.
And then they have
sucks.
sex.
It's my nightmare.
That was the part I couldn't remember. It was just him putting his hand over his goddamn heart.
She said, "Cite your sources," and then
That's what
he
it
touched
was.
her.
Cite your
Cite your
sources, and it was his
sources.
heart.
Yikes. So,
Sucks.
well, they have sex on the beach, and then Barry and Helen did too, presumably. And
We learned that she's planning on being. Well, we learned from her the pageant that she's planning on being an actress in New York, and that's how she'll serve her country. And that he is gonna be a football player,
Quarterback for the Cowboys.
He's gonna be a quarterback because he looks so
Right.
much like a quarterback.
Right.
Football
I
count.
would not have picked him as a sports guy at all.
No, he could be one hell of a kicker.
Yeah. Throwing a ball. Please.
Throwing.
Well, Barry and Helen are like blasted from booze. And then they get in the back. It's it's Barry's car, but Ray drives because Ray has not been drinking. Barry from the back changes the music to, is this metal? Hard rock? Metal?
I don't know
Something.
what it
It's
is.
more like crazy music compared to what they're listening to. And then
Wow, this is
that's what it is. I don't know what it is.
okay.
He goes up on the sunroof. He drops the alcohol on Ray, who takes his eye off the road, and then they hit someone at full speed. And this is like the story everyone knows of. I know what you did last summer. This still happens in the book. I think this is on the cover of the book. That's still what happens in the
It's
book.
like-
But
Okay.
It was it a kid on a bike?
I think
I
so.
want to say is the cover.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very The Shining.
I was about to say it's like The Shining. I was just thinking that.
And then they think it might be a deer, or they're just telling themselves that. Just
What? You
until
can
she
see
finds
a
the-
full-grown man, and he goes, "I think it was a deer."
Hey.
Also, the fact that Barry is half out of the car, out of the sunroof when they hit the guy, so the guy hits him and the blood
Yeah.
gets on his head is pretty crazy.
I didn't even
That is
realize that's
crazy.
why he had
pretty
blood on
cool.
him. I was actually kind of
Yep.
confused on why he had blood on him. Didn't realize that.
That was why it rolled over him. Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, Ray says it could have been a dog, and Julie or Helen go, "That was too big to be a dog,"
Yeah.
and Barry goes, "But it could have been a deer."
On its hind legs, just in the road.
Wearing boots.
Uh,
And that's when we find out they hit a boot.
there's a boot. There's a fisherman boot that they found with blood
This
on
is
it.
the best scene of the movie.
And this is where
Yes,
they all
this is-
And
start
Helen's
best
chase
scene.
scene.
Yeah.
It's the best scene. 'Cause- And you know I hate to sing men's praises.
Of course, we all.
But I think the reason this scene works so well is because Ryan Phillippe is losing his absolute
I
mind.
agree.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
everyone else is kind of just standing around, and he's going at shit.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it work, is because he's having the crash out of a century. Sorry for TikTok terminology, I'll cut that out.
That's
I
a
do.
TikTok
I
term.
didn't even know it
Cut
was a
it.
TikTok term, so you're fine.
Okay.
I agree. It's interesting to see like the different perspectives of it, because someone like Barry absolutely would immediately knee-jerk reaction be like, "We gotta cover this up. There's no way anyone's gonna believe us," because he does reckless shit all the time. He did a lot of stuff that summer. But whereas like, and then of course, Julie has tried to be voice of reason, be like, "We can't do that," but he is so overpowering. Just the no that it's like, okay.
Well, I found it interesting that Helen at first was like, "No, we gotta go to the police," and then as soon as it's kind of like maybe a possibility to like, that's where like the conversation's heading. Then she's like pretty much fully on cover it up for the rest of the time.
This is what I was gonna say is, I think this is why Helen is my favorite character, is because I think she has the most, like, she's the most real to me. She has the most depth of, like, how a real person may react to it. 'Cause she feels the most conflicted. She's not
Right.
swayed one way or another. And also the fact that when they're fighting over who pushes the body, she, like, you don't even see her in the scene, and then she volunteers to do it.
Right.
And then Ray doesn't do fucking shit.
I think Ray still thinks they hit a deer.
You know what? Their first mistake in this whole thing was letting the dumbest member of the group check the pulse. All of this
Yeah.
could have been avoided if anyone else checked the pulse.
Yeah. Yep.
He didn't check the carotid. He just grabbed the
No.
wrist, which you can't
And then-
always feel, especially when it's a weak pulse.
And then he went, "I think he's dead." And they all believed him.
That was good
So
enough for
maybe
them.
They're all as dumb as him.
Yeah, my note was they find the body. They find the body and presume he is dead based on Ray's calculation of checking pulse, which is not accurate. again, like immediately when it happened, so I actually forgot how this all played out from the first time I watched, and I was like, of course of course Ray doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Of course not. Why is he doing it? Anyway, they go back and forth, but Barry suggests they dump the body, and then Helen gets on board with that. A car comes along, so they start moving the body, and it's Max who pulls up. Barry pretends to be puking where they dump the body.
I thought he was puking.
I think Barry was
I think
faking.
he's pretending. Yeah.
So he they knew why they were over by the rails or pulled over. No, he saw the damage. They said they hit a animal to Max. And then
I still think Ray thinks it's a deer. Oh, Matt, did Max assume?
I think he just said because she said that they pulled over because he was puking and they didn't want to get puke in the new car.
Oh, that's right.
And then he looked at the car and said it doesn't look so new anymore. And all she said was, "Yeah, don't drink and drive." So
yep, no lying.
You know what? Plausible deniability.
Yep.
I guess.
She wanted to be a lawyer. That's what she wanted to be. Was the lawyer.
Oh, I don't think she can handle that.
Maybe after all these events, not at the beginning.
I thought that's what she said. I thought that's what Helen said, was that Julie was going to be a lawyer.
Probably. I know it's like the way it was filmed, but Max 100% would have seen them carrying.
I was about to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I would have seen that shit. Except for he is always squinting, so maybe he just can't see.
Yeah. He's always squinting. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not wearing his glasses.
Yeah.
I don't know what Max says to Julie, but I put that he was being kind of creepy to Julie here, but I didn't write down what he was saying. I don't remember what he said to be creepy. But he was being creepy to Julie.
He's creepy to Julie.
Yeah. They put the body in the back of the car, and they bring him out to the dock to dump him in the water.
One thing that Max also says to Ray is to wipe the shit-eating grin off his face, or something like that. Or no, he said wipe that look off your face like your shit don't stink. And Ray just goes, "Okay, cool, thanks, Max."
He's like. He tells him that he's really got... Okay, so we also learn that Ray, this is the other personality trait of Ray's, he doesn't have the money that the others do.
Right.
So he would, even though it's Barry's car, he was also the one driving, he would probably get the worst of it if they got caught.
Yeah, he also says during the argument that he doesn't have the money for lawyers like everyone else does.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's that.
So we're on the dock, and they're about to push the body in, and it's gonna be Helen and Barry. But then the man he reveals that he's alive, but that makes it seem like he's like a magician, like. But no, he like reaches for them. He grabs Helen's crown that she had won at the pageant. And then Barry dives in after him. He takes the crown from the man underwater, who opens his eyes, again revealing that he's alive. And Barry leaves him down there, swims back up to the surface, and then they all agree to never speak it again after Barry chokes Julie.
He doesn't say a thing.
Barry, first off, immediately jumps into the water like he's fully laid out.
He's like, ah!
And if you didn't know that he was a sociopath before, he can open his eyes underwater, which is the number one sign.
I can't do it. I know.
Well,
but I do think that this is
good.
I do think that this is interesting, because as much as he's an asshole to Helen, in different situations, I do think he, like, it's an interesting part of his character, because I think that shows that he does care about her. Like, the fact that he jumped in no question to get it. But I think that is his character to a T, is he jumped in no question to get it, to protect her and the rest of them, but then shoved it back in her hands, and then proceeds to choke Julie.
And doesn't tell them that the guy opened his eyes and is still alive at the current moment when they're walking away.
It's not like he's weighed down at all, so...
No! He could just come
Barry
up as soon as they walk away.
should know that he's not dead this whole time.
Say what you want about Barry, this movie would not exist without him. This movie would be 5 minutes long without him.
They would have gone to the
Barry.
or the
catalyst.
yeah. it's revealed that the jewel that the man was holding on the cliff earlier, we saw a just like
It was like a trinket.
yeah,
Yeah.
that he was holding.
It said "I love you."
Yeah, and
Right.
it's revealed to be at the scene. So again, trying to make us think that the person that's in the water now is the person that was sitting on the cliff. I forgot about that. I thought one of them was holding it for a little bit, and I was like, who the fuck was holding that? Was it like I thought it was at the Patchett. It was that guy.
When you already have seen this movie once and you're watching it again, especially when you're like watching it in pretty high definition, you can really tell that that guy is not the same guy that was sitting up there. Oh, they're not even close to the same age.
You gotta. I didn't put it together because I was not paying close attention to that.
I was looking real close.
Luke and I were so confused when we watched this the first time that I did not remember how this movie ended.
Yeah.
And I'll explain more towards the end. I thought this had a completely different ending.
Really?
Because Luke and I fully adored ourselves last time, and I'll get into it later. Or at
We
least
did?
I just I convinced myself of something that didn't happen.
Folia 1.
No,
Matt, I'm sorry. Did you say this was your first time watching this?
this is my second time.
Second time. Okay. When's the first time
Yeah.
you watched it?
Like around it was last Halloween, I
Oh,
think.
so
It wasn't
was
that
still
long ago.
okay. It was still.
Yeah.
Well, we cut to 1 year later, and Julie is at college, but is planning to go back home for the summer. She is not doing well in school and obviously struggling. Okay, so I'm gonna skip to the parallel of 1 year later after this at the end of the movie when Julie's at college, and I just this is something I really don't like. Is like how sad it's like obviously how bad she's doing, and then it cuts to
gray
at the
makeup.
end. It's more the end that pisses me off, where it's like, oh, I can't wait for
It's
it.
also-
Oh my god, everything's great. Like you're
It's also
friends
after the
aren't
death
better.
I
of
know.
2 people. Yeah.
which is like they can go on with their like they can enjoy stuff like it's just like the way that they cut it of like
was too
it was
much
so
at the end.
egregious. Yeah, it was too much. Anyway, she gets a letter delivered to her parents' house when she's back there, and her mom can tell that she's also
Her mom
struggling.
sucks.
And then
Yeah, you know that your daughter is struggling, and the only question you ask is, "Are you on drugs?" And that's it. You don't ask, "How are
Okay,
you doing?
That
Are you
delivery
okay?"
was really good though.
Yeah.
It was the silence before and after.
but the letter that is delivered to her parents' house does not have a return address, and it says, "I know what you did last summer," with an exclamation point.
I know what you did last summer.
Which is really funny because it would just be better if there's not an exclamation point. It'd be scarier. But there's something about the exclamation
Yeah.
point that makes it so
It's like-
cheesy. It makes
Someone
it
who
better.
took time to
last
put an
time.
exclamation.
So funny. Like why? Julie goes to meet is trying to find Helen and goes to the retail store that Elsa works at, just a generic retail store.
Well, it's her family store. And how
Oh.
have we not mentioned that her last name is Shivers? Her name is
Yeah.
Helen Shivers, which is an amazing character.
That's
name.
real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elsa tells her that Helen's somewhere else, but it's revealed that Helen is also working there. Julie, okay.
She just says, "Do you have her number in New York?" She's like, "I don't know why you'd need that. She doesn't have one. Why don't you just look to your left or some
Oh,
shit like
yeah.
that?" And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro.
Elsa, for no reason,
Yeah.
is she like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helen
not at all.
hasn't done anything to her.
Nope. She's just
They're
the
given
favorite child.
No
Yeah.
reason. No,
Is-
she's not. Her dad doesn't even acknowledge her, and no
That
baseball
is
game
true.
has ever been that interesting. He could have acknowledged his daughter.
That's a good point. Now,
Julie tells Helen about the note, and they go to see Barry, and Helen and Barry are broken up. They fight about what happened. Julie says the man's name was Dave Egan. Was it David Egan or Dave? David Egan.
David.
Ray, they say Ray is gone up north, so New York.
Whatever that means.
Up north.
Oh yeah,
To the
Mike,
Great
this
White.
takes place in North Carolina.
Southport, North Carolina.
Yes, which is
Oh.
a real place.
I must have missed that. When did they say that?
It was
The
on a
license
boat.
plate.
Okay.
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
I had no idea where it was set.
But It's so funny. Okay, we'll get to it later. I'll get to it. Remind me.
So, going.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't know what we're reminding you of. So,
North Carolina.
Okay.
North Carolina.
A lot happens in this movie, so the notes are very much like this happens, this, because it kind of just goes from here. But there's obviously a lot of fighting. Like, they kind of beat it down on us that it's like everyone's struggling after what happened, obviously. We haven't seen Max at this point yet, but Barry thinks, or sorry, we haven't seen Ray at this point. Barry thinks Max was the one who sent the letter. And then Barry goes to Max's job as a fisherman to talk to him about the note. Barry threatens him, grabs the hook that he holds to his face and tells him to fuck off. Max then grabs the hook and points it at him as he walks away. I'll get you.
In true Barry style, he didn't ask a single question. He immediately went to violence. Yeah.
But then Barry thinks he did a good job.
Yeah. He always care of that.
It's taken care of. And then we see Ray is actually there on a boat, not up north. And he is also working as a fisherman.
Okay. This is where we learn that his father, he doesn't know who his father was, but he knows that his father was a fisherman.
The first red herring.
So Luke and I,
Yeah.
we're so convinced. Luke, please tell me you remember this. The first time that we watched this movie, we were so convinced that the killer was his father.
It was his dad. Yeah.
Was his dad, that we got so confused at the ending because we were trying so hard to make that work to the point where we thought that was an actual plot point in the movie.
Yeah.
So we were like, what? They hit his father on the road.
Oh,
and then his
were you
father
so sure about it that it just becomes canon to you?
We thought that it was. We thought they said that. Like, it was a part of the movie.
Oh my
that we
God.
were like, his father killed David Egan, who killed Susie Willis, who they hit on the road.
Oh my God.
Very convoluted.
Man.
Very
But
convoluted.
it's his father.
Kevin Williamson
working
got you guys
together.
bad with that red herring.
So then what were we
No, we
thinking
thought
when
it
they
was
were
a
like,
part of the movie. It's
what were
'cause
we thinking
we're
where it was
not
like,
paying attention.
so when they were like, oh, it's Susie Willis's father, we were just like,
You were like,
no.
No.
Yeah, all we heard was father, and we didn't catch the Susie Willis of it at all.
We definitely did not. We didn't have the subtitles on, so I just caught father. Oh.
We just got father. The whole Susie Willis aspect of it was lost on us. So when I'm watching it the second time, I was like, when do they reveal it's his dad?
Oh my
They never did.
if it makes you feel better, Kelly, the first time I watched this, as soon as they said that, I thought the guy they hit was his father, but then Ray was the one killing everyone, which they try to make you think later in the movie.
Yep.
And I thought every time they called him out and be like, what if you're the killer, Ray? It was supposed to be like, that's supposed to deter you, but it actually is Ray. And then I had just fallen
Which
into
is
Kevin
Scream.
Williamson's
You-
trap.
yeah.
Yeah.
You had seen Scream.
I had seen Scream.
Because I was so sure of it, and I caught this time that he was Susie Willis's father, I had a moment where, like, Ray has a sister! I was like, Ray had a sister and she's dead now!
Yeah.
I think your fatal mistake was thinking that Ray was a real character.
Yes.
I forgot.
I was like, this guy has to tie. It's Freddie Prinze Jr. I love that guy, but he's done nothing this whole
At
time.
all.
He has to
And he
tie
continues to
somehow
do
more
nothing.
into it, and he doesn't.
Nope. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
you're
I had to
good.
go
He's
on
in the
that
sequel. He's in the sequel.
He's in
so
the-
we'll get more of
Look,
Ray.
He's
Is he
in the
wrong?
2025 one.
What?
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, he was in the trailer.
Hell
Okay.
yeah, he survives.
Maybe I'm right. Who knows what gets
Maybe he's been the
revealed?
killer the whole time.
Could you imagine? They saw Seven it.
Kill
tell
me. I
ya.
fucking hate
Ugh.
Being
Yes.
confused kind of makes movies better.
I agree with that.
That was Luke watching Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
No, I didn't pay enough attention to be confused.
It makes everything a mystery, and so you're trying
Yes.
to unravel everything
Yes.
at once when you've just made up half of the shit.
Yeah.
You could write your own movie with the fake
This
stuff
is
that you
what
thought was
fanfiction
happening.
is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Max puts the hook in some ice and is working boiling crabs. And then I put a hooded figure, not realizing it's a fisherman's outfit. That's like the whole point. He gets the hook, swings it at Max, gets him under the chin, and slams his face into the table. Which this one kind of got me just thinking about the hook going into your
Nasty.
It's like hot fuzz.
Yep.
Nasty.
Yeah. Oh,
He's presumed dead, but he wasn't dead the last time we saw him. Who knows about the sequel?
Wait, Max?
Wait, who?
him in the
Yeah, he
trunk?
didn't die.
We saw
did.
Max in the
we
trunk.
did. We did. Sorry, I put that here.
The crabs.
Forgetting that later. Well, was he alive?
Did Max walk out?
He was the one.
And he grabbed the crabs. Yeah.
This is where I put. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but I like this for like a 1997 slasher movie being like Kevin Williamson. I think again, this is not as refined as Scream, but like making Max the creepy guy, I really expected him to be there till the end, and then it revealed that it's not Max, or it is because of the Billy. There's like, no, Max is dead. Shouldn't have died because it doesn't really make sense why he was killed, but I don't really care. I'm glad that it was like, okay, he's not the killer.
I think there's also an aspect to this that's trying to make you think, are there more than one killer? Like, did Barry kill Max? And someone else is going after them because he's the one who just threatened him. Although we know that's not the case. But that could be an aspect of it, of why that happens, is trying to lead people in multiple different directions.
Maybe.
Trying to think how many of our main characters are the person.
Yeah.
It would be
Like
a
Scream.
sick movie if all four, right, like Scream, but if all four were doing it. And they didn't know the other
like-
were doing it.
Murder on the
Murder,
Orient
yeah.
Express.
Right.
Except they know it, and they're like,
Uh-oh.
how is there
it's
another
cut
one?
out.
Am I back?
Yep.
Yes.
What if all of them were confused and they were like all thought they were the sole killer, and then they
Oh,
hear there's another killing and they're like, wait a minute.
You know,
Someone call up Kevin Williamson. He's writing Scream
Yeah.
7, so...
There's a South Park episode about lice that's like that.
Oh,
Licecapades?
Ooh.
yeah.
This is such a good episode. Barry takes a shower. I put in some kind of warehouse. I did not realize this was a gym. It just is. It's a
In a
warehouse.
warehouse.
Or a shed.
Barry with his fucking dog tags. Barry's
God,
the kind of guy to
Barry.
wear dog tags despite not being in the military.
In the
Harry.
shower.
or most likely having no family in the military.
He has a picture left on his locker of his car that says "I know."
Yeah.
Written on it. He looks around the locker room, and while he does, so he walks away. Someone then goes and opens his locker and steals his jacket, which apparently is a really big deal. They make it a pretty big deal, but they just steal his jacket. Is that the jacket that why is that important?
I think because his
Max is
keys were in
wearing
there.
it later.
Oh.
Yes, he steals his car, so he hits
Yeah.
him with his own car.
Okay, yes,
But
the
he-
car thing. Yeah.
But Max is wearing the jacket, so just to fuck with
For some
him,
reason.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yes, the killer takes his car, runs him over, running him through a small shed. May have been where he was showering, because it looked like a small shed to me. The killer comes up to him, but then it cuts before they do anything to him. So, I mean, the cut makes it seem like he's dead, but then it's immediately revealed that he's not, as the rest of the gang shows up to the hospital.
Makes it much more interesting that he's still alive. That all four
Yes.
are still alive for most of this movie. But also, why kill Max? Just to
gonna
not
say.
kill
Yeah,
the others
because it
till
doesn't
later? I
seem
don't know
like
what's
he
going
wants
on,
to
guys.
like torment them. He really seems like he wants revenge of killing them. So at least they
is
don't
just
explore
collateral.
that more. Like it seems like he just wants to kill them, but he has two opportunities that are like this one with Barry, and then with Helen when he's in her closet. It's like then he's just fucking with them, but not really explore. Like now, if this was like Scream, right? I know we probably shouldn't do too many comparisons.
It's not fair
but,
to compare.
But I just mean like with Billy and Stu, they're kind of intentionally fucking with them just because they're crazy, and they really get into that. This just seems like a revenge plot. So him kind of like fucking with them is kind of interesting. It's kind of weird because he doesn't do that always.
Nope. He just kind of does it
Just
willy nilly for
sometimes.
the plot. Yep.
Yes. Ray suggests at this point to come clean, and Julie agrees. Barry now admits that it's murder, although he was just fighting that it wasn't murder, the scene that they were talking before. So
this is the first time they bring up, what if it's you, Ray?
With Barry. And Barry says, we all know you have a slicker, like it's a slur. The way he says it, there's so much hatred in his voice. We all know you own a slicker.
Why is there such an emphasis on that? Like, what?
Maybe because he's poor.
That's what it is.
It could
You're
be. There
a
could
poor
be an elitist.
fisherman.
Yeah.
Wait, did you see Barry's house? That thing was insane.
No.
It was huge.
All the houses.
Yeah.
You guys seen Cruel Intentions?
No, but that's what I was
Yes.
referring to when I was saying that Sarah Michelle Gellar doing horrendous stuff in the 90s.
Yes.
Knowing nothing about that movie, it
walking
seemed
on-
very random that you brought that up, but I'm sure there's some connection.
I was walking on campus once and I saw a person with a Cruel Intentions t-shirt. It was just the poster of the movie.
Nice.
Awesome.
Solid.
Nice. Respect.
They decide, well, once Barry admits it's murder, then the group decides to try to find the killer and talk to them and ask them nicely to stop.
Great plan.
Hey, yeah. Don't knock until you try it. Hey, maybe it'll work.
Helen just said, "I'm sorry."
They were we gotta talk to this guy. I think because they don't know, this guy ran over Barry, but didn't kill him, and they don't know Max is dead yet. So maybe that's why they're like, let's go talk to him, because all he did was run over Barry with his car.
I have a question. Like, running Barry over with his car could have killed him.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
so
why.
What was the intention? Is he just on a whim?
I think
he's
so.
just playing. He's playing
he tried
jazz.
to kill Barry with the car. When he didn't die, he was like, "I'll just do it later."
Yeah. Helen says that it has to be a friend or a family member of the person that they killed last summer.
Which is kind of an assumption, but yeah.
Because
because
they also sense, I guess.
It makes the most sense, but it also is like they don't know Max is dead. He's not ruled out. He saw them there.
But how would that family member know that they did this? You know what I'm saying?
That's the movie.
Right.
They're in the
But
bushes.
they're
That's part of what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. They're like, they have no leads. So essentially she's like, we got to go figure out if it's a friend or family member.
Can I just say, no shit, he's not dead. If they found that body, they would absolutely be in jail by now, you fucking idiots.
Yeah. Because they found a body.
Yes, that's why, yeah.
A body, but they'd be able to tell it got hit by a car. And what car? Barry's car.
Now, they might think that the fall damage, if you hit, rocks or something, may do, maybe that's what the group is thinking, they think he just fell off the cliff, hit some rocks, and that's it. Well, to be fair, okay, Julie's the only one who knows about David Egan, meaning nobody else read the papers to see if they got caught. Julie's the one who's explaining everything to them about it being... Actually, Ray does too, because Ray goes to visit Missy later. Or that's revealed later. So, Barry did not read the papers. Probably doesn't know how to read. Julie says that... Julie's the one who assumes it's David Egan, and I think that's why.
Yes, but it is interesting that you would think that in the paper it would talk about how messed up the body was or something. And they never mentioned that, because I'm assuming David Egan wasn't as messed up. Yeah, so it is interesting they don't make that connection at all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, it was basically where they had left the person, they found someone, and then they never got talked to by the cops, so they just thought they got away with it.
Yeah.
Now, that's also why they don't think that he's alive, or Julie doesn't think that the killer is alive, because they did find a body that night.
Right.
Okay, they researched David Egan, because this is where Julie mentions his name, and find that he was the driver in a car accident the year before that his wife had died in. Julie remembers that the body that was that they pushed into the water had the name Sarah tattooed to... Sarah? Susie. Tattooed to his arm. Before they threw him in the water, so they go to try to find David's mom and sister. Yeah. that it's just a lot of information of like we're trying to go find David because of this. Julie,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. They go to the sister. Okay?
Yes.
Who we know, despite having also a ginormous house, who we know is lower class because she's the only character with a country accent.
Right.
Yeah.
No one else in this movie has one except for her.
Correct.
Just something I found interesting.
Astute observation.
Great observation. In the car on their way there, they mentioned 2 famous movies. One of them was Silence of the Lambs. What was the other one?
So Helen says Angela Lansbury always had a plan, and then when they're up to the door, she said Jodie Foster tried this, and a serial killer answered, and the names that they used in the house are Angela and Jodie, which is cute.
Which was fun.
Cute.
Which the first time,
good writing.
The first time I watched it, I didn't make the connection, and when they just said Angela and Jodie, I was like, where the hell did that come from? And then the second time I was like, oh, I should have paid attention more.
It's easier with captions.
Yeah.
Well, Julie and Helen are the ones to go find Missy. They make an excuse of their car breaking down, like they're in Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then what?
Nice.
They asked to phone phone for help, and then AAA.
Yeah.
We get Missy tells them here about David, and that the mom is somewhere else after the death of David, which kind of puts it into like, is the mom doing this now? Because she's mentioned as a character. She says that one person came by to pay their respects after the death of David. And then she says that his name was Billy Blue, which comes back later.
Most fake ass sounding name.
Billy Blue.
How did you hear the name Billy Blue and not immediately assume it was an alias?
Yeah, right.
And then Helen suggests that maybe David wanted to die in the car accident that they had because he lost his girlfriend, and it was a way to make them feel better, for sure.
On July 4th, a year earlier.
Yes.
Which good call picking this movie because it's 4th of July weekend.
Well, that's why the new
didn't even. Okay. Helen goes home and says hi to her dad, who's watching a baseball game, and ignores her.
Drinking beer and watching a baseball game.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Emotionally unavailable father.
He also doesn't notice that the killer comes in the front door.
Nope.
And then Helen drinks a Diet Coke because she's so real. The killer goes upstairs, and Helen unknowingly goes up behind them, which I liked. Instead of the killer like following her, she unknowingly follows the killer into her room. But that also gives a reason why the killer could be in her closet, and she wouldn't know. Elsa comes in to Helen's room and grabs her shoulder in a fake out jump scare. Helen calls her Elsa calls her pathetic and leaves. Like, just no reason.
Be at the store. We learn that she's going to be in a parade tomorrow. So Elsa says, be at the store at 10. And Helen says, I have a parade. And then Elsa goes, you're pathetic. Your hair. And then leaves. Which also, okay. Now we know that she has some connection to her hair.
Just mean for no reason, though.
At the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
She asked once at the beginning of the movie how her hair looks, but we didn't know she had this, like, emotional dependency on her hair until that one line, just so we know the impact of it getting cut the very next scene.
Immediately after. So, what was that?
I said, what is Elsa's problem?
Yeah, no idea. She just out of nowhere. She just pops into scenes to be mean to Helen, essentially. But Helen goes to bed, wakes up in the morning, is not killed by the guy in her closet, but the tiara is on her head and her hair is now cut, which was just mentioned, like Kelly said, immediately before. I'm assuming that's because he heard it, so he knew it was important to her, which he didn't, but...
A couple of things. How did he do all that without her waking up? Because I feel like even deep sleepers, if someone's like messing with your hair, you'd be like, what?
What?
Two, the hat she wears in the next scene, amazing.
Yes.
3,
isn't it?
by the time she's in the parade, her hair looks fine, which is
She
I
very
was
got
gonna
her
say,
short. He's got it.
Okay, the killer. Hold on. The killer torments her by giving her a cunty bob.
yeah. I was like, your hair looks
give her
fine.
a
What's
beautiful haircut.
yeah?
This is my
Okay,
favorite.
I want
Oh.
your favorite scene.
This is my favorite message from the killer, which
Oh.
just had "soon" written in red lipstick across it.
Yeah.
My
Yes,
favorite
that's a good
message,
one.
just
They keep
short
getting shorter.
and to the point.
Getting
Did she
tired.
break the mirror? Do I remember that correctly?
I don't know. I think she screamed. Does she hit it, or does she just scream? I think she does break it.
Yeah, because I remember being like, "Oh, girl, you're gonna like." It looked like it would have like really messed up your hand. Like it like splintered bad.
All right. Go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to say, the scene before where they visit Missy Egan's house is when I start liking Julie because she knocks on the door, waits 2 seconds, and then decides they should break in. Starts looking through windows. And then the next scene is when she's in the car and she hears the scratching on her car. Mark?
Yeah. Oh, just continue. Sorry. Okay, so she hears the scratching in her car. She pulls over to check something in the trunk. She opens it, and Max's body is in there with a million crabs over him. She closes her trunk, runs to Helen's. Barry is there, comforting her. And the three of them go back to the car, and nothing is in the... Nothing. Not a trace of any crab. Not the...
Where'd all the crabs go?
1,000 crabs that are in her trunk are just gone.
This is
Better magician than
Julie's
Nathan Fielder.
iconic moment in the movie where she just starts screaming at the air
Yeah, yes.
to come get them, which is you're like, yes.
But what are you waiting
I love
for?
a girl in
Iconic.
psychosis.
I
Yeah,
know.
the what are you waiting for?
I'm more mad, not even that the body is gone, which would be harder to hide. Just the crabs. Just where are the crabs? It
Where
just
are the
pisses me
crabs?
off. They then go to Ray's, who is not even a character anymore, and Barry punches him in the face, not asking questions.
Oh, wait. That's a good scene. He goes, "You're gonna die,"
die.
and punches him in the face, and that's how he opens the conversation, which is real good.
Barry's the best
And
character.
there's tension. There's
Yes.
tension. There's
Uh,
also tension between Helen and Julie in the car. But actually, sorry, gotta go back. Really good scene I liked was when Julie goes, "Did you see the sister? We ruined her life." And Helen goes, "Julie, I don't think we're that powerful." Which was a
Like,
really good
whoa.
line.
Yeah.
Like, and how the two see themselves
Yeah.
and what they did differently. Which
That
was
is
really
really good.
good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Ray is fully like suspect number one.
Yes,
What
yeah.
is he? Also,
He's a fisherman.
Good line because
Yeah.
Barry has a great point. Like maybe the only great point that Barry's ever had. He goes, he made coleslaw of Helen's hair. I got hit by a car. Julie has a body in her trunk, and you got a note.
Yeah, that's a great
Because
point.
Ray's excuse for why I'm not guilty is, hey, I got a note too.
And we don't even ever see this note.
no.
So is he in cahoots with his father?
His father.
Yes.
They
Yes.
never know.
Is
I
he
Learn the
Susie?
sequel.
Okay.
Susie.
I think that they could explain Ray being off more easily than the other ones by just saying a line about him being, he needs to go out on the boat and he's gonna be out for a while, and like then he's like gone, and it would be more mysterious of like, then is he the killer? Is he lying about where he's at? And it makes more sense of why he's not a character, but there's no explanation. He's just there a fourth of the time. While they're talking, Julie mentions Luke standing up. While they're talking, Julie mentions Billy Blue, that Missy, am I losing it? Is that her name? Missy had
that's her
said.
name.
Missy.
And Ray has a reaction, making it very obvious. He's like, Billy Blue? It's very obvious that it's him.
It's very funny because they talk about like trying to like get her to ID him, and he's so not cool and subtle about it. He just why would we do that?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
dude, come on, keep your cool.
Julie brings the yearbook, but they cannot find Billy Blue. So their idea is to go back to Missy's house and tell her to point out who Billy Blue was, which is going to give away what's going on. But, I mean, that's what Julie does. When she goes there, she's just like, this is what happened, which I was confused of like what
They
their
need
plan was,
answers.
but that's what it was. Julie just went
answers.
and explained everything to her. So
That scene was another instance of a song when when she showed up. It almost
So weird.
it was very weird. It was like almost felt more Texas Chainsaw-y than the first time they were there for some reason. But very faintly, and I only noticed because of the subtitles. Do you guys know the song "Where Did You Sleep Last Night," famously covered by Nirvana? It's based. I think this was like the most famous old version by this guy named Leadbelly, but it's a very kind of creepy song, and it's
Oh.
playing in the background. And which is why I was like, why is the whole vibe different now? It's just because she's there alone.
She comes at her knife, and the camera is all shaky. And then the second time they cut, the camera is still in a different position, and she's no longer has the knife pointed at her. It was so strange and unnecessary.
It was almost like they said, do a take where you're super menacing, and then do a take where you're nonchalant, and then they like splice the two together.
as good movies do.
Yeah.
Helen gets the haircut and it go off screen, but her hair looks amazing. And she goes to the 4th of July parade. Barry is on the float too for some reason. He's just sitting
Protection.
He's gonna
there.
beat the shit out of the guy.
Helen points out who she thinks is the killer, and Barry chases after him, tackling him. It's an older man, and Barry immediately dismisses him as being the killer, but I thought maybe that is the killer because he just dismissed him. But Helen sees the actual killer up on a balcony holding the hook at her.
In the book depository building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where he was hiding.
Very much so.
I have a question about why it's like it looks sunny, everyone's dressed warm, and there's that one old guy in full slicker just out there. Like,
There
what
were
is he doing?
multiple.
Yeah,
It's just how North Carolina is.
that's just what it's like being a fisherman. Don't know any different.
Everyone's wearing a slicker 24/7.
This is where we cut to, you guys mentioned that Missy was holding the knife to Julie. Missy says that she thinks David committed suicide or is positive that he did because he had left a note. She gives it to Julie and it says, "I will never forget last summer." Julie
Same font.
is like, yeah, Julie's like, this is a death threat. David didn't commit suicide. Julie then confesses everything to her, saying she identified him because of the tattoo. But Missy says that he did not have a tattoo saying Susie for sure. So then I actually did think, because I was not paying attention to how the person looked that I thought it was David. So I was actually like, wait, what the fuck? Wait, something. And then I was like, okay, Kevin Williamson is doing something. He's moving pieces around that I didn't expect, which I appreciated.
He's the puppet master.
Yeah, he was like, something's going on here. Julie thinks who they killed was not David Egan. And then at this point, it's like, for sure, that's the person. I mean, I thought, no matter what, I thought that it was David who had been killing them because the person they killed I thought was David. And he's obviously alive because his eyes opened. I thought something weird was going on with that, but at this point, it's like, okay, the man that they pushed in the water is the person killing them because that's not David Egan. Okay, there's a lot of stuff of them trying to figure out what's going on with the person.
Do you have any thoughts right
None.
No?
now? None. Did you have any thoughts while watching this movie in general?
No.
No?
Luke,
Okay.
I'm setting up your PC next time, and you're the guy. You're the guy.
You're the guy. Yeah, actually, that'd be good for him.
That was
Go through
the idea.
walkthrough.
I just keep forgetting to set it up on his stuff. It was supposed to be 2 weeks straight that we were supposed to do that.
Luke, does that just like
forgot.
raise your blood pressure thinking about being the MC?
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good. It'll give you something to do on the podcast that you're on.
Matt,
Yes.
do you have a point?
Yes. Did anyone else think that the killer looked very silly when Helen saw him because he was up there like this with his little slicker on, and it was like this was like you have to stand like that so you can't see his
You can't
face.
see. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So Julie then is figuring out that she just thought it was David Egan, who was because she saw that David Egan had died that night in the water, so she just assumed this past year. So she has no idea who they pushed in the water. Helen goes to that year's beauty pageant after the parade, and Barry's on the balcony. Helen sees the killer behind him, who kills him. Helen screams and tries to help the officer, and takes an officer up there, but there is no body, which means no crime, according to Psych.
No body, no crime, Sean.
This
Which is kind of yes.
The behavior of the people there is absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah.
She is yelling,
Yes.
screaming that someone is attacking her boyfriend, and their instinct is to just hold her back because she's being
Yes,
hysterical.
and nobody can see. It's
They're
not like a
not caught.
ghost movie. It's not like everyone's like nothing's like they can't see up there, so nobody's like freaking out. And
Also, the cop would have seen the blood, or should have seen the
No,
blood that
he's-
was dripping.
This guy's terrible at his job.
Two,
Yep.
the guy he's just like, oh, this crazy young woman, she doesn't know what's going on. Like immediately dismissive. Oh my god.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or when he's like, let me guess, the same guy who cut your hair in the night?
yeah,
Well,
when they're in the
yes.
car. Yep.
Yeah,
could be.
probably.
Yeah.
Logic
He's
would
literally-
dictate so.
She's the reigning queen of this pageant. Like, there's gonna be 1,000 creeps who could do something like this.
Yeah.
No, this is gonna be the second week in a row that I bring up bottoms when talking to you guys. But it's like when he's like, "Oh, women are always
Yeah.
right," and she's like, "Yeah, actually." It's like,
Actually,
yeah.
they are. Yeah, or when they were like, but because he isn't actually hurting me, I can't do anything. I can't
Yeah,
press
it's like-
charges.
So it's
Yeah.
just like annoying.
But Barry's death feels kind of sudden. After like so many fake
Yeah.
outs, it feels a
Yeah.
little bit lackluster, but then we get a fucking phenomenal chase scene right after. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Halloween 2018. She's in the cop car.
Yes.
The,
Oh,
the
yes.
killer kills the guy
And
outside the cop car.
Scream 2,
And
Scream
you know, the same year has a cop car scene where they have to climb over the bodies.
I thought the officer was the killer here.
really?
Everyone's
What?
killer.
It's
What?
that thing, Luke, where he's
just such a
dismissing
dick.
her, and I was like, Halloween 2018, where
classic cop
second
character
Loomis
in a
is in the
horror
car,
movie. Yeah,
and then
I see.
I was like, he's the killer. Like, I don't know. I thought he was gonna be like, all right, well, because he was so dismissive of her. He's just being a man. But I was like, he's the killer. So he's like, when he's driving,
I
I thought
see.
he was gonna be like, pull off to the
So-
runway and then be like, here's a hook.
There's a lot of things about the scene where he stops that, like, logistically, I was like, how? Because
In the
one,
alley.
how did he know where to exactly park his truck and be out waiting? Two, like, killing the cop, killing the cop makes more sense than killing Max, but it still doesn't make like
Oh wait,
full sense.
no wait. Didn't he block the road?
Yeah, the road
and
is blocked
then-
off, so that's the
Because-
only way to go
because
that
for the
way.
parade. So
But-
they had to go through the
Give him
alley.
some credit
But
for that.
He knew they was gonna, she was gonna
Give him
go to
some
the
credit.
store and not home.
Maybe home is also
Yes.
that way.
Okay.
Well, he was just following her.
The killer
Oh,
was.
because you're saying that he was driving.
We're talking
them
about
to
the truck,
store?
where he has the truck in the alley.
So yeah, like he
how did
parked the
I know,
truck
I
in the
know.
way, but like, how did the killer know that the cop was gonna drive her to the store and not
He was-
home?
He was trying to drive her home. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, and then
just
she
to the-
ran to the store.
because
Got
it was
Okay.
closer.
That makes more sense
Uh,
because you would assume she'd be going home. Okay, yes.
But also before they the MC at the next beauty contest makes Helen give back the crown. What kind of honor
that's
system do
weird.
they have with this
That's
crown?
weird.
What do you mean?
No, that's like, isn't that like Drop Dead Gorgeous that we just watched?
Is it?
I think is that just the thing with beauty pageants? Didn't she take it
It's
from?
Oh, you're right. She did take it from her.
Because like,
It's an honor thing.
how
What
hard would
kind
it
of
to
honor
be
system?
like another $7 crown to give somebody? You know, like.
Yeah.
Also, Drop Dead Gorgeous, highly recommend.
Yeah, it's good.
On the list.
As well as Sugar and Spice.
They're good.
I'll leave it at that.
So Helen, well, they stop in the alleyway. Helen screams that he's the killer. The officer turns because he can kind of hear Helen. The killer hooks him in the gut and starts going after the cop car. Helen breaks through the window, runs away.
Dude, that was crazy. He busted the shit out of that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Good on her.
During this,
Yeah.
before Helen unfortunately dies, technically off screen. Helen, or it
was
cuts
good.
back to Julie, who does research and sees that Susie's father was a fisherman. Not
So
Ray's
is
father.
everyone in that town. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Kevin Williamson was running from experience. He's like, everyone's ancestor, everyone has to be a fisherman.
Everyone around me is obsessed with fish. I just want to kill teenagers for fun.
He's like, if everyone's a fisherman, then everyone's a suspect. Again, so Susie was David's girlfriend, and she was the one who died in the car accident, and Susie's father was a fisherman. So now she thinks it's Susie's father, and she's right. That's who the person is who's going after them, is Susie's father. Well, I don't know his name, actually.
Ben.
Ben. I actually did write that, now that you say that.
Ben.
Okay, Ben. Okay, then we cut back to Helen, who runs to the retail store that she works at, and begs Elsa to let her into her family store. Elsa takes her sweet-ass time while her sister's screaming for help for her life, saying she's gonna die. And Elsa just walks over there. This pissed me off.
God.
I was so angry.
And then she says, like, Elsa's like, why are you being like this? And Helen goes, I'm being attacked. And Elsa scoffs at her.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Insane
Even
behavior.
if you hate your siblings, it's like me to Luke. Like, I hate this guy's guts, right? But if he's screaming, actually, maybe I would take my time.
You lock the door.
Yeah, just like, whoop.
Yeah, just like lock it harder.
I'm the killer behind him.
Yeah. You.
I was a fisherman too. Let's see.
You were a fisherman?
I was a
Is that code
fisherman.
for then?
Nope. Moving on.
How many times have you fished?
Somehow the killer gets inside from the back and he kills Elsa.
Elsa does say that it's open.
She said
She
the back
says
door
we
was
could have
open.
gone around, it's open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't-
So-
that's good.
This
to know.
movie makes sense, guys. It's smart.
It does!
The killer. Then this part was actually creepy. Of like him actually carrying Elsa on the hook. Like he's just walking with her.
Oh yeah,
on
when
the
her
hook.
back is all
Yeah.
arched. Yeah, that was freaky.
That was actually creepy. I think is it a top-down shot or is it from the side?
Side.
It's
From
on
the
the
side.
side and the sun.
Yeah.
Well, that part was good. The killer then pretends to be a mannequin, Halloween 2018
Yes.
style.
How
Love it.
And
Love it.
it's always a good setup. I'm never
Always
tired of like I'm pretending to be a mannequin. I don't
How
know.
do you
It's so
get-
funny.
You
It's
have
so
to get
funny.
You have to get set up so
Mannequin.
quickly
Yes.
and be so still.
Yes.
Like it takes such
I
determination.
love it. And then he attacks Helen. Helen runs away, sees Elsa's dead body. She tries to pull herself upstairs with a levee system.
Yeah. Yes, and then he just goes up the stairs.
Yes, and then he runs up the stairs, beats her there.
But and then she catapults herself out this window.
Yes.
Guys, she fought so
She
hard
should have
She
lived.
deserved
in
better.
this scene. She should have world peace could have been achieved if Helen survived instead of Ray and her and Julie eloped at sea.
And then
Eloped at sea.
Because that never happened, we will never achieve world peace.
maybe she could have acted and served her country.
Yeah, I
No,
guess.
exactly.
She throws
What
herself.
kind of sick world do we live in that Ray lived and Helen didn't? And
It's just-
everyone
I
in this
know.
movie is supposed to be straight. Have you seen what they're wearing? I digress.
They Helen throws herself out the window here, much like Halloween 4. Those are two very good throw yourself out the window to survive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Julie is then back and runs to the docks to find Ray. Julie thinks the person that they killed was Ben Willis, Susie's father, and that Ben was there because he had killed David by pushing him off the cliff for driving the car that the car accident happened where his daughter had died. And she's right. Sounds crazy. It's right. She thinks that he's still alive. He didn't actually die, which Barry could have told them since he was alive the last time Barry saw him in the water. And he's the one trying to kill them. Julie sees that the boat that Ray is on is called Billy Blue.
Like Ray has two brain cells. You're gonna come up with an
Just like,
alias
what?
and you pick the name of your boat.
Real smart.
Come
Real
on,
quick
guy.
thinking there. And she thinks that he's a killer, so she backs away. Which they were trying to set up by him not being in the movie, so it'd be like here's a reveal, so the movie's trying to make us think that.
I feel like it rings hollow at this point because I think you as
Are
the
we-
audience are like pretty well convinced of Julie's theory at that point. I
But
don't know.
I think that's why it kind of works, is that we're
Okay.
getting told before the end of the movie that it's Ben Willis, so it may be like an extra reveal. And this is the Scream guy. The creator of Scream made this
Scream
movie.
guy, yeah.
So then it would be like, psych, it's Ray. And so
Right.
to me, I actually
Right.
think that this coming out after Scream, that makes sense, being
Yeah.
like, Billy, oh, actually it's him, and if he like stabbed her right then, so like the audience might think it could
Could
be.
you
I knew it
imagine?
wasn't just because he's in the 2025 movie, but I might think he could have been involved at least.
Could you imagine, because he was in the movie so little and the parts he had were like so minimal, if he were the actual killer, that would have been hilarious because it would have been a little unsatisfying because it's like,
Yeah.
where has he been?
Well,
But that's
the
kind of
killer is
what it
unsatisfying.
is.
to begin
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So there's kind of no winning in this movie.
Here's the thing. So this is what I was gonna.
Some great suggestions.
This is what I was gonna say
Yeah.
about the killer reveal. Is
Yeah.
Are we,
A lot of
are
the-
we done with Helen's chase scene?
no, so we're
Or-
getting
okay.
back to that. We haven't
Okay,
finished.
okay.
It cut before
Okay, thank
she
God.
does. The reveal that it is Ben, because at this point, even again before it cut back, the killer shows up and clotheslines Ray as he runs after Julie, and then we find out that Ben essentially she gets on the boat. It's Ben. She was right about her theory about it being Susie's
Some
father.
guy named Ben.
Some guy named Ben.
I'm dead.
The reveal of this, I feel like is just gonna. I feel like it's kind of like most slasher movies. It's kind of like no matter what, it's kind of unsatisfying. Like even thinking back to iconic ones, right? Like Friday the 13th. It's Jason's mom. Who the fuck is
Well,
Jason's?
that movie sucks anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
but like it's an iconic one. Freddy
Yeah,
Krueger,
yeah, yeah.
we
Blows.
know Freddy Krueger. Michael Myers, we
Yeah.
know Michael Myers. Like these reveals are hard, and the one that people really, really like is Ghostface because it's obvious, and so then they do like it's obvious that it's him, so then it's not obvious because it's so obvious, and so like
Playing against.
yes. And
the
so
audience against
nothing really lives. So like this random thing about it being Julie's or Susie's father, I'm like, I'm fine with because it's underwhelming, but it's also like to me it was kind of a bait and switch about it being David, and then David's not the person who died. Like David is the person who died, and then I like
What
it for that, but it is like underwhelming no matter what.
I think that it makes logical sense. Like I like the way that it's crafted. I'm like I could see how we got from like point A to point B
Yes,
to like
yeah.
all the way down the line to this point. But yeah, it was like I had said, I thought that Ray was the killer the first time I was watching it, like up until probably she meets Missy again, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
it's that
Which, like,
Scream 3 effect, or like the Scream 3 this is actually your long lost brother and I was behind it, and it's like, who the fuck are you, like that kind of reveal, or Billy's mom in 2, like
yeah.
most reveals of a killer are kind of underwhelming. The one that rings like is the obvious one, but that's also because Billy and Stu fucking eat that shit up, so it's like I don't even,
Also, Billy
you don't
and
even
Stu
care,
fucking-
they're just going off.
end of
Oh.
sentence.
Absolutely. Also, the fact that they were two of them
Yeah,
is
it's
a twist
something
that
else,
like
so.
is very different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, even there's a twist in Kelly and I saw Clown in the Cornfield recently, and it's like it's an alright reveal, but no matter what, it's just a
No,
killer reveal
I
is a
like
killer reveal. It's just what it is. Like, so whatever.
But it's not like they're trying to. I'm on to that. It's not like
Yeah.
they're trying to convince us of anything different the whole time.
Right.
Right.
By the way, Mark and Matt, I assign both of you Friendo lives, and I will
Oh.
put that
Oh.
out there.
Okay.
Okay,
Mark,
interesting.
especially you, because the second half of it is batshit fucking bananas.
Yeah, okay, I got it. They got to make that movie, and I got to. Okay, Julie. No, that's not right. She was right that it was Ben Willis. Oh my God, he has the Susie tattoo. He goes after her with the
Wait a
hook,
minute.
and she grabs the flare gun but drops it.
Wait. This is after Helen died.
Oh, you know what it was? Okay, the reason I thought it was because I hadn't gotten to that part in the notes. I thought Helen was still alive. I thought it was like because they didn't
because
show
they
it,
don't
and it's like an off. I thought it was gonna be like a
Yeah.
something had happened. Of
I
course
see.
it isn't, because he had already killed Helen so he could be on the dock. Duh. Sorry.
Right.
In my brain, she was still alive, so I never wrote anything.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kelly, about Helen's death.
The alley scene is so iconic. She was
Yeah.
so close to be killed that close to a whole crowd of people.
Devastating.
She fought so hard too. And her running down the alley with the little look back when really he's just 2 steps in front of her. God, it sucks.
I love
Girls deserve more.
I love Helen because especially her sister, but a lot of people write her off because like, oh, you're the pageant
The
queen. She is a fighter. Like she fought harder than anyone else in this
Holy
movie.
shit.
That's why I
Yeah.
thought also she'd be a lie. And it's like, I was hoping they would do something. I don't know. Maybe and still they'll just confirm.
She
it,
looked
I know.
pretty dead in that ice. Let me tell
was
you.
dead.
That was her. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's what something I wrote is like I could not tell who it was.
Okay.
The two people in the ice, I could not tell who it was. So that was a me
was-
thing. I had like facial blindness.
It was Barry and
Okay,
and
so it was the
Helen.
2 friends. That makes sense.
But can I just say the fakest looking ice I've ever seen in a movie? Didn't look
strange,
good.
huh?
Yeah.
It looked good to eat.
It looked like
It-
that
yeah.
Circle K ice, the one that you can
But yeah,
crush on.
if we're talking about characters that deserve to live, like in this movie, if 2
Yeah.
characters deserve to live, it was Helen and Julie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe in some universe they're out there together and lived happily ever after until I still know what you did last summer.
Yes.
And Ray just gets to be out on his fishing boat doing God
He
knows
God
can do
what.
whatever he wants, and
Yeah.
Barry's dead.
Okay.
And Barry is dead for sure in every universe.
In every universe, Barry's dead.
So Julie is on the boat here, and she sees all the newspaper clippings, and this gives me Friday the 13th Part 2 vibes, where she like walks
Yeah.
in the mother's head, and I like it because it's hilarious because it's just on a boat, some guy's boat.
It's just his boat.
It's just some guy's boat, which is hilarious.
Some guy's boat.
I really want Still to be
Old boat.
Friday the 13th Part 2. Somehow it's supernatural, just to go batshit.
Yeah.
I know it's not, but that would be fun. Especially with like how this movie is, I just feel like they should go batshit with a sequel, but
I think that I heard that one of the sequels gets supernatural.
it's probably always. I'm in for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I know, all I know about Always is that James A. Janice
Yeah.
said that it's one of his least favorite horror movies ever made,
Fuck
and he
hell
has seen
yeah.
every horror movie ever
I'm
made.
so in.
We're in for a real treat.
I'm so
Yeah, we are.
okay. So he gets on the boat, and Susie goes below deck. Julie goes below deck.
Brother.
She
Oh my God.
too many there's a lot of names.
What- Mark, you're onto something. Because what if she did the Friday the 13th Part 2 and
Susie.
pretended to be
So
Susie?
that's who I thought was in the ice because I couldn't tell who it was. I thought it was
Oh.
Susie's body,
We're
and I was
trying
like,
to make this movie so
and I
much
put-
more complicated.
and then when I thought it was Susie, I
Desperately.
thought the other guy wasn't Barry. I thought it was David, and I was like, how did he get these bodies?
Oh.
And I was really confused. So then I started
Oh, we hate
mixing
this
up my.
guy.
Anyway,
2 people have been dead for a year or 2.
that's why I thought they were in ice. I thought he was preserving them.
But didn't they have David's body? Like the police
Yes,
found it.
that's why I was
Okay.
confused.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Ray fights
wait.
Ben up on top of deck while Susie's below deck.
Below deck.
Yep.
I have a question.
Mediterranean? Oh.
Okay, when they find Ben's like creepy stalker wall, there's a picture of Helen at the parade, which, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, happened earlier that day.
How do you get? It's 97. How do you get that photo developed?
How did he have the time to take
That's what he
that
did.
photo, kill Helen, and then go to Walgreens to get that developed?
Yeah, he went
The
to
Walgreens.
Kinko's. Yeah.
Kinko's, yeah.
S- Ray fights him. There's something with a net and being lifted up, and Ben tries to get Julie from below deck again, and then she makes her way to some ice room where I assume they keep the fish. I know nothing about fishing, and
Sounds right.
she finds bodies in there. My notes, guys. I know nothing about fishing, but she finds bodies in there. I don't recognize them. Are they supposed to be Julie, Susie, and David? How did he obtain those? Maybe they're somebody else's bodies. Who knows? I just
Somebody
moved on.
else's body.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? Not the 2 people of the friend group that it's apparently very
that
obvious.
recently died?
Blonde. No, not the blondes. Guys, this is a world where only blonde people can date blonde people and only brunette people can date brunette people. And that's why our girls
And it-
couldn't be together.
It makes me sick.
It makes me sick.
Ray hits Ben with some kind of ship thing, and Ben knocks him to the ground. There's a lot of boat fighting here that I don't understand. Ben tries to hook
Boat fighting.
Julie, but his arm gets caught on some rope, and then Ray pulls that rope to make it fly in the air. So then he flies, but it severs his hand and throws him into the water. So he just like flies into the water.
Oh yeah.
Which ties into Urban Legend.
He flies like Ichiro in All Monsters Attack, but with one arm.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Both times watching this ending of the movie, I think I watched it with a completely straight face. I don't think I was amused at all.
It's just
I think
That's how I watched it.
it's just a fight on a boat.
Gonna get over with.
Yeah.
I watched it in my computer chair like this.
You're like,
I don't know what it is about this end part, but it was just
It's
like
not it,
I
yeah.
was. I
think
don't know why, but like what makes Helen's chase scene so good, and then this ending scene not work as well. I'm not sure.
Agree. I don't know what it is. It's like the weakest part of the movie.
It's silly.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
campy. They're fighting on a boat, and
It's a
then
little bit lackluster.
I think this
But I
also
like the camp.
goes into like some of the reviews being so negative after it being after Scream, where it's like you just have a full 20 minutes of them just like talking and being super gay to each other, and it's amazing in Scream. And then this one's like Fisherman gets shot up in the air, which I love, but it's campy as fuck. He gets shot up in the air and he loses his arm. So then I put, obviously he's gonna be alive with the hook actually being his hand in the next one. Obviously.
The first time I watched this, I got a good laugh out of me when he lost his hand. That was really funny.
It's crazy. I don't understand what happened with the ship. I think the sail was going up, so then the rope brought him.
Sure.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
I don't know
how
what's
ships work.
happening with the ship. Ray then admits that he did talk to Missy at this point, and at this point, who cares?
Okay,
They're trying to explain that
hate
he's not a
to-
part of it.
I hate this last part where they're in blankets and they're hugging, and he goes something like, "I was so guilty" or whatever, and she goes like, "I understand your pain."
Oh, yes.
Made me want to throw up.
Might as well
Then-
have gone again.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I do like that they just looked at each other and agreed to not tell anybody.
We're all
Yeah,
lies, yeah.
They're like, hey, that guy was
Why they're
evil
asking
anyway, and he tried to kill us, so fuck it.
Killed multiple people.
At this
yeah.
point, they just wish that they would have killed the guy. They're just like, fuck it.
Do you guys realize though that Ray pulled a Melissa hat on Missy, where he felt really guilty and then dated her for a second? I was like, what are you
Oh my God,
doing?
wait, you're right.
Yeah,
I
did
forgot
he?
about that
Yeah.
aspect.
He did.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said he hated her.
Yeah, she said it was
Oh
like
my God,
short lived,
the
but he
Melissa
was
hat.
like, they were like together.
God
for a
damn it,
second.
Ray.
Ray, what are you doing?
Right. Wait.
He probably
do I kinda
forgot.
like
He
Ray?
probably
Yeah.
forgot.
That's more
Fuck in my
interesting.
head.
That's
Yeah,
more
that's
interesting.
true.
Yeah.
They tell the cops they don't know why Ben would want them dead, because since he's evil and he had killed someone before this happened, they're not guilty anymore.
Correct.
Fair game.
Well-
That's what they're saying.
Absolved.
Right.
of
That's what they're saying. Fair game. Okay,
Unity.
let's
Yep.
we're good. He killed David, so it's like, fuck it. Everything's fine. They find his hand with
Yeah,
the hook
so
still in it, and they say the body will turn up, but hasn't.
The cops?
Guys.
I'm like, is that how cops are? Nah. He'll show
Yeah.
up.
He'll show up, guy. He'll show up.
The chances of all of this. Okay, so all on this 4th of July.
Yep.
I made a little. I had to make myself to understand. Do you see that?
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
It's hard to read, but
Okay.
yes.
So. Okay. David Egan accidentally killed Susie Willis
Yes.
in a car
Yes.
accident.
Right.
The year before on the 4th of July. And so you can't see shit. Ben
Nope.
Willis is Susie Willis's father. So the next 4th of July, Ben Willis kills David Egan by drowning at
Yes.
that same dock. And then as he's walking back in the
Yes.
middle of the road for somewhere, he's basically asking to get hit by a car.
Yes.
The gang hits him, thinks he's dead, tries to dump him at the same place that he dumped David Egan, because apparently that's just the body dumping spot.
hmm
But then he's not
Every
actually
town
dead,
has
so
one.
he every town has one. So he's not actually dead, so he comes back and kills 2/4 of the gang.
Yes.
And
That's-
Max.
And
And a
Max.
cop.
Yep.
And Max,
Yeah.
and Pop, and Elsa.
And
And
Elsa.
Elsa.
Yeah.
And Elsa.
He killed more non-group members than group members.
He sure
What-
did. Yeah, he's
That
kind of
is
bad at.
job. That is job.
He's really bad at his job. Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
His hand on the hook, still being grasped around the hook, really funny.
I would not have
Yes.
understood what happened with the plot and who he was if I was not taking notes and trying my best. Because I
Yeah.
never get that stuff and who's connected, but
And what they didn't tell us is that Ray's father
he's also
Was David Egan.
was David
Egan.
Egan, and Susie Willis is his mother. So Ben Willis
Ben
is
is
his
his grandpa.
grandfather.
Okay,
Wow.
we cut to 1 year later, and Tilly's doing better.
No,
And
wait, that means him and Missy. We gotta move on.
okay, move on.
Okay.
This is the part that I hate, where Julie, it's like a parallel to the beginning, but Julie's like, "Oh, I can't wait for New York. Oh my god, oh my god." It's like
Also,
just
doesn't
so
feel
much, just too
in
much.
character,
too
does
much.
it?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
And before that all happened, she wasn't like that. She was more pretentious,
Yep.
which is okay.
Even the way she's wearing her towel feels fake because it doesn't look like really held up. It looks like a movie towel
Good
that is
point.
like would never fall even if you tried to pull on it. You know what I'm saying?
Matt's bringing
Yeah.
solid points here. She gets a letter with the same handwriting as she's about to take a shower that's just left on the bench, and it says, "Pool party this Saturday
like
by
eight
some
of
frat
five."
house." Yeah. So she goes and takes a shower that's like super steamy, like it's
So
just the
hot.
hottest shower of
Yeah,
all
my
time.
God.
Just like
Steamy.
it's just like a fog machine
Actually,
was in
was
there.
that guy at the end of the movie saving her from Evil Dead
Maybe.
rebooting herself in the shower?
I think so.
Luke's thinking about a different movie with a shower scene.
Oh, what? Terrifying. It's always fucking
I'm not. I
terrifying.
never am.
Now you are
Get
though.
up every
Now you
time.
are. She goes into the shower, and there are 3 words written on the glass that someone marked in that
I
is
still
really
know.
proper, and he
Does-
did it really
I
quick. That says, "I still know."
Ah!
She hears something clink behind the glass, and Fisherman jumps out and breaks through it. And he does this very like reverse Nightmare on Elm Street where she gets pulled in. He jumps out through the glass,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the movie's done. Which does set up for "I still know what you did." I like that it said "I still know." It's very funny, but it's also like, if it's Ben, then yeah, obviously
The end
it's
is
just
so
being cheeky by
sudden.
saying "I still know." It's I don't know.
The end is so sudden, and that whole scene feels like they only blocked out half an hour to film that entire final
There, for
scene.
sure.
You know
In
what it
25
feels
minutes,
like?
it's getting it so steamy.
Yeah.
It feels like the original ending was supposed to be on the dock, and then like they test
Mhm.
screened it, and we're like, we need a more like a point on the end.
Which was the
Yep.
same thing that happened in Nightmare, where they had to put that
Yeah.
in. It's like they had to.
Mhm.
Now that makes me kind of like it because it just feels Nightmare on Elm Street. It's cheeky. it's silly that the fisherman is still in fisherman gear, somehow behind a glass of the shower. Don't know where he's standing, and
But
just
that's his
burst
calling
through it.
card.
That's what fishermen can't take that off.
That's
part of
a
them.
just stuck to it.
Yeah,
They're
they're
born
born
with
like that. Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie. That is, I know what you did last summer.
I have a question that's so not important.
Mm.
During that final scene, was Ray not wearing a sweater and then randomly wearing a sweater when he jumped back onto
Wasn't
the
paying
boat?
enough attention.
Did not
I
notice.
didn't
It's
pay
a great
attention.
thing to
Okay,
look back on.
I think
maybe that's just when I noticed his sweater, but I
Hmm.
felt like he was randomly wearing a sweater.
I think that everyone on set knew that we wouldn't be paying attention to Ray, so they didn't care.
Give him That's a
sweater.
really good point.
Who
Where?
cares?
Why not? To conclude with this movie, I would recommend this movie for people who like campy horror movies because that's what it is at
Yeah.
this point. Like, it's not a 70s camp; it's a 90s camp at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty solid. Just don't compare it to Scream or
This-
think like, oh, it's the next thing he did. He wrote it before, which is apparent, but I don't think it's bad. Like, it's cheeky, it's all over the place, but that's like the fun of it. So go in with an open mind, maybe take some notes so you're not as bored. And it's pretty solid. Solid slasher movie, all right? It's fun.
I think
It is what it
that
is.
if I would say, like, if someone was like, should I watch it? I'd be like, so it's not
With
like
caution.
it's not Get Out. Like, that's a different type of horror movie. But like, if you want just some like fun horror camp,
Ew,
Yeah.
don't say elevator door.
I didn't. I swear I didn't.
I know.
I am talking about it,
Okay,
but it
You
didn't
said-
work.
You said Get Out
No,
instead.
don't do it.
You just used it
Yep.
as Get Out.
This
That's
movie-
I could just
that's
plug
that's
anything in
the
there.
term for elevated horror. Yeah.
This movie kind of reminds me of
guys,
a Midnight
you know-
movie where it's just some guy with a tool that's like, what the fuck is this?
Guy with a
But
tool, that's all you need.
it's
Hey,
good.
put Midnight Movie on the
And like
schedule.
Dead Dudes in the House, am
Midnight
I right?
movie.
Mm.
Very important.
And Dead Dudes. Can you put Dead Dudes on the
And
house
Dead
in the
Dudes.
schedule, please?
Mhm.
Kelly, what are your thoughts on
Um,
this movie?
Guys, you know what's crazy? This
Hey.
movie is as far away from us as this movie was from 1969.
Holy crap,
That's disgusting.
Dude,
that's weird.
I thought I just saw somebody in your bathroom.
Actually,
Why do you do this?
I
Does
wonder
he
if
have
I
a-
left that window open. Hello.
Is he wearing a slicker?
A slicker.
We all know you own a slick.
Don't worry.
The other
Ke-
day, there
Kelly,
was,
keep giving
there
your
was
thoughts and I'll
rattling
go
in the
check.
house, and then the dogs barked at nothing.
Guys, if I die, it'll
Yes,
be on
because they're
camera. Okay,
animals.
so I'll be.
I
on
think
camera.
it's just
There are animals
Sky.
in the backyard.
This is becoming unfriended.
Or is it Unfriended
It's
Dark
not
Web?
a good movie. I've never seen it.
I've seen
I-
Unfriended, I think
Sky.
1.5 times, and it's bad.
One and a half.
I
Imagine
already
I
know
got
this
fish
movie.
hooked right
It's
there.
fine. Literally, people need to learn how to start having fun and go watch I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because also, one hell of a title. That's a mouthful and a half.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it just gets longer. As
And
you
I
go.
think-
Last summer. No,
And I think people just need to start having fun again, you know? Let's go out and start hitting people with our cars again.
Okay,
So-
You know?
on
Yeah.
that note,
Luke, did you say you would? What did you say about it?
he said it.
Would you
is what
recommend?
it is.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Do
I
you
would
think
recommend...
this
No.
movie, like everyone knows what this
It's what it
movie
is.
is, right?
Yeah.
And is that because of this movie in and of itself, or did that tick up a bunch after Scary Movie?
Probably.
Scary
Well,
movie.
I think it was
think
pretty
this-
well known anyway, but I
Okay.
think when people think of I Know What You Did Last Summer, they might be thinking of scenes from Scary Movie.
Because they're
If you know what
shot
I
for
mean.
shot the same.
I
most
wouldn't-
of
Yeah.
the time.
Really?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be. Luke, we gotta watch all those in one day. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised
Scary
if
movie, that's
this
fun.
movie was also popular and sold a lot of tickets because of the marketing and the Scream stuff.
Yeah.
But then the reception was bad. I think honestly partly because of that.
Right.
It's cheeky, but like Scream wasn't like
Don't
it is. but-
worry.
yeah.
He came back with the smash hit Cursed, which is
Cursed, yes.
shown to have been very well received upon release.
Yes.
So he also wrote the. Didn't he write the
Cursed
Faculty?
is the number one movie for me. I didn't think so.
Did he write The Faculty?
I looked up his
Oh my god,
IMDb.
if he did, I owe him my life. He wrote
it said-
Cursed and The Faculty.
In 3 years, he did Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and The Faculty. So I was like, man, he really had a chokehold on the 90s, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Holy
Screenplay.
shit. Oh my god, I love him so much.
And then Dawson's Creek for some reason.
Hell yes.
You know,
not for some reason.
It has the basketball scene's pretty good.
That's a good team. One good team.
It's pretty good.
All right. So, does anyone else have anything else before I wrap this up?
Nope.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in to listen about I Know What You Did Last Summer. We are gonna take a break not a break in the podcast, but we're not doing I Still Know What You Did Last Summer next week. That'll be the week after because we're gonna have a guest on next week. It's been on the show before. It's Cowboy Cameron, and we're doing the critically acclaimed hit Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
Did you know Luke did not know the Tim Allen grunt from Home Improvement? Until I
You don't
showed
know
him?
the Tim Allen grunt? Really?
He had to show me. I was like, all right.
That was a really good one, Matt. That was really good.
Like, it's like
I try
Scooby
not
Doo
to
almost.
engage
Yeah.
with Tim Allen things.
Me too, usually, but the grunt. The grunt is funny.
It's an iconic Curtis Connor sound
Grunt is
Yeah.
funny.
bit at this point. All right. So next week, tune into Wild Hogs. It's on Tubi. Everyone go watch Wild Hogs right now, and then the next week watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. But we will see you next week as we do Wild Hogs. This has been tonight's watch, and goodbye.